Hey, how's it going? I have some stuff to talk about. So I have a little something that I wrote. I'm just going to read it to you real quick. Well, not as quick as I thought. Okay, here we go. The title is Couldn't Get It Right. Yesterday was the rapture. Well, it was supposed to be, according to some people. I didn't find it to be reputable. Why? A few reasons. One, it comes from... Hold on, sorry. It comes from a religious leader. It comes from a religious leader who predicts a doom for some and for others to be exalted. Reich. 2, apologies in advance. He's a black South African pastor. That's who made the claim, rather. Since I don't follow that kind of thing or much Africa-related stuff at all, I wasn't familiar. They are one of those that collect money from a particular type of congregant, the ones who accept a fleecing from their pastor that likes the finer things and expects them to be paid for by the tithing of their flock. The flock who are desperately looking outward to someone else to rescue them. The thing about religion, especially when it industrializes and the collection of money becomes more talked about than scripture. Why cede our own authority to another person? The Creator is the one to whom we owe our existence, but giving it power is having faith in it and its creation. There is no coin slot or deposit drop. As for finding in others what we aren't patient enough to wait for faith and divine timing to answer prayers and star wishes for, why are we asking another human guy? Why, if there's an admission fee? Why, when they ask one to impoverish themselves and their dependents? For what? So the pastor can point out what's wrong with the congregation, only to saunter off, dandily clad and accessorized, and onto their... Hold on, I want to get this right. And onto their congregant-funded private jet. Have I asked why yet? Why the fuck? That type of thing is a red flag parade. I've been on a kick lately of noticing how in our search for the light, for the illumination of what we've missed, that's hidden only momentarily from us, all we have to do is lift the lid and peer into the box and know the condition of the contents, live or inert, just awaiting to be gazed upon for the heat, to be gazed upon for the heat of a gaze to bring it to life, its condition to light. Our attention defining it. Seems easy enough, right? Let's call ourselves the box. And let's call it a gift box. We like those. We love them. Why wouldn't we look first at and into that box? We aren't able to see it. It's like the lost eyeglasses you frantically search for but have forgotten you pushed back on your head and have had them the whole time. Forest for the trees and all. I'm saying, I didn't punctuate that very well at all. I'm saying we often miss and waste time agonizing over a lot of kind of crucial stuff that's been in front of us the whole time. Wasted time? No. Maybe the exercise of goose chases is the point. Hear me out. If I don't choke. Search and explore. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe the exercise of goose chases is the point. Search and explore every dang thing else in the room, your life, and collect information and experiences we wouldn't have had we not missed the point or found the glasses. Like, maybe the losing it, the thing itself being lost until we realize, is the point. Maybe that's what the whole rapture experience we just had was all about. And not like the episode of American Dad with the fake Jesus at the stadium, where, unlike here, in reality, people were made magically nude and levitated skyward. Where Stan and true Jesus battled demons on fallen, scorched earth with the left behind. Maybe the rapture we just had was something that's happened and we simply haven't recognized it as such yet. Hope springs eternal, and we tend to take things that could shock the senses and sensibilities better in small doses. Smack! I really don't want to be doing that. I've noticed a lot of people doing it, and why? Again with the why, but why are we doing it? I know why I'm doing it. I have loose dentures in my mouth. What's your excuse? Sorry. Not sorry. It's hard to stop the flow of stupid little one-liners. Give me a second. Okay, so, where was I? So yeah, we tend to better tolerate shocks in small doses so shit can sink in. It's just a thought, but given past history when we thought we knew things to be definitively true and they turned out not to be, we either got it wrong or not at all. We're not always as ready for things because we have a tendency not to factor in what we don't know. I don't mean the known unknowns. I mean the gift boxes we barely let ourselves know are right there. Why do we ignore them? Why don't we know they are there? I'm going to go with fear. On some level, we know this gift may be life-changing, and the ego that drives the fear does not want whatever's in the box to change the status quo. A gift like that can change how we feel about ourselves. What monumental change is awaiting us when we finally turn our attention to what's in the box? What's in the box? See? Hold on a second. I also didn't punctuate that properly either. Where'd it go? What's in the box? There. Sometimes a gift is just a gift. If we can accept and allow what change has to bring and welcome it too, then our fear-based ego will learn the change is nothing to fear. We can never rid ourselves of our ego. It's a major element of our fight or flight defense system. However, no one said it was smart. And out of panicked self-preservation, it can lead us astray. In that case, the hard light needs to illuminate the darkness of low information. May be required for you to see it. More punctuation or editing or something. Sorry, I don't mean to ignore you. We ourselves can be the reason we hold back from facing what we fear to see. So, in previous videos, I know I have mentioned our mistaken understanding of Y2K and the Mayan calendar, for example. I think it just happened again yesterday with the rapture. We had our heads filled up with all kinds of something that we came up with, like I was talking about that Dan cartoon, which I love, American Dad. That's like one of my favorite episodes. The sound, the music on it is so good. It's all Giorgio Moroder. It's so cool. And Fran gets with Jesus because Stan's a dipwit, and it's a really good episode. I don't know if they've gotten any awards yet. I award them like the Webby and the Emmy and everything, People's Choice. Anyway, sorry, got sidetracked. But we tend to get all confused and distracted by squirrels and set dressing, and that is not like the point. You know, like, and I'm saying the point, like, you know what I mean. You apply your own point to what I'm saying. It is the point. But I think do it, like, definitely look in that box and get on with it, right? So that is one thing I wanted to talk about. And then I had an encounter with someone on Substack. I had read a piece written by someone, I believe they're an indigenous person. And yeah, I can't right now remember what it was about, but what I do remember is that it invoked a feeling in me, and it's happened before. And it's like a really deep kind of thing that I kind of, like, there's obvious reasons why I would feel that way, but not really, because I don't think it happens to just anybody. It didn't seem to be happening to anybody else around me the one time it happened in public. And what it was is, I replied or commented on the piece. And I said I almost didn't read it, and then I'm glad I did, though, because something happened while I was reading it that has happened other times, and I described the other times, which were the first time I was watching a powwow, like, just like I am right now, except I wasn't recording, I was watching a video, and I had, like, involuntary crying happen. Like, I didn't feel sad. Like, I was so excited to see it because I hadn't seen one, and it was beautiful, and I just loved looking at all of the finery that the people were wearing for the dancing, and just, like, all of the different people. Like, I like to people watch, and it was a good watch. So that's where I was going in, and then, like, for the first couple of seconds, I swear it happened really fast, but I'm sitting there enjoying it, and then next thing I know, my eyes are crying, like I'm having tears. My breathing changed, like sobbing was trying to happen, and I'm sitting here inside my body going, what is happening? And going, like, just, huh? And so and I was alone, and there was not like, who are you gonna call? Hi, weird experience busters. What the hell just happened? And so, I mean, obviously, like, there's some kind of reaction emotionally to, like, the history of the native people, but that feels like I'm saying I'm not a part of it. And while I do have some, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome about having, like, indigenous tribal ancestry. There's for the same reasons, there's a good chance I do have it, and there's a good chance I don't have it, because there's a I don't know if you know about this, but in like black culture, there's a thing of your grandma telling you like you have some tribal ancestry, like Cherokee or whatever it is. And so when I was a really young kid, before she passed away, my grandmother did tell me that we were Choctaw. And the reason why you might take it seriously is like she had so-called good hair, and I have so-called good hair, and I'm the grandchild. So I can't remember if she said a quarter or a half, but she said her mom or her grandmother, I think her mother, was half, which would have made her a quarter, something like that. But in black culture, a lot of people's grandparents have told that story to the grandkids, from what I've read. And then, like, people go to Ancestry.com and find out, oh, that's not true. Just like what happened to Elizabeth Warren. Somebody in her family told her that they had whatever's in Cherokee blood or something. Whatever tribe is from her area. I think she's from Iowa originally, and there's not just one nation in that area. So really, there's not just one in any area. There's just ones that, for whatever reason, the names have become more known. So anyway, I mean, I could attribute it to that, the feeling that I was having, like that sort of association, or just the knowledge of what happened to them when basically the colonizers arrived. It didn't go well. It still isn't. It's still like a battle for those people. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So, and then the other time that happened, the involuntary crying, like I said, it was in public, and me and my roommate were at the Seattle, I don't know, museum, Metropolitan, I guess, museum, and, in the lobby, there was this family, and it was a few adults and about 3 or 4 kids. They were like, I think the youngest would have been like 9, and the oldest would have been like maybe 17 to 19. But like those were the kids. And so the adults, and then some of the adults and all of the kids were like dancing, and a couple of people would have like, you know, drums that came on like a shoulder strap so they could also dance while drumming. And it was summertime, so it wasn't hot in the museum, but like the boy, it was all boys except for the mother. She obviously wasn't topless, and like the men were not topless, but the boys were. But they were like really dancing up a storm, you know, and I don't know if it was some kind of traditional African dance or what, but all of a sudden I was crying there too, and I was like panicking because, for one thing, I was with my roommate, and she was like right here in front of me, so she wasn't looking at me, she was looking at them, and I was like, thank goodness, because that girl was so crazy. She would never have let me live that down. I would not have been able to explain it to her. Like I said, I don't know what the heck happened. I certainly would not have been able to explain it to her, and she's kind kind of racist, so she just would have like made fun of me in a way that she would have thought was just funny and fine, and I shouldn't have been offended. And I, from experience, know that I would have been completely offended every time she brought it up. So I was able to pull it together, you know, and I didn't feel like I could even bring my hand up to wipe my face because it would catch her attention to be all, "What are you doing?" And then be all, "Why are you crying? What's," you know, and then I did not want to have that particular experience. So I don't understand well what it is, but there's obvious sympathetic reasons why I could look at those two groups of people. And the black people were significantly darker than I was, so I'm just like everybody else. I see like darker people too. Like I also saw Roots, and it was, I'm so light. It's like looking at like a whole other group of, like a whole other race of people, but it's not. I mean, and I'm all of those people, whatever race we are all the same. I don't care, like, what all of the, you know, regional, traditional stuff is, like, the basic sacred stuff is basically the same, and so the appearance stuff is kind of, like, moot. To me, that's just my opinion, but, I have been programmed culturally just like everyone else, so someone darker is more Africaner than I am. And that makes no sense. I know better than that. Like, scientifically, that is nothing. It's stupid. It makes no sense. But, there it is. And so, I wrote about having those experiences that were so similar to what happened when I read this piece. And then another person who did not write the piece replied, and she said, like, "Oh, you must have been looking at them and then just, like, knowing the history, and it made you so sad and you cried." And I was like, well, like I said, I didn't have, like, that emotional thing. In fact, what I said was I was happy to be looking at it. I had stars in my eyes. I was so curious. How does any of that sound sad? So, that's what I said back. And that person came back. It kind of blew me away. They were like, they started ranting kind of like about the Holocaust, which, what? I didn't mention that. I mean, I get where they're coming from. I understand the parallel. Sorry. I think I might have that post-COVID cough stupidness. Sucks. Like, this might right now be some throat chakra stuff, but I've been having coughs, like, just out of nowhere where there's no reason for me to be coughing. But anyway, they came back and they were like really angry that I don't know what they wanted me to say, because I gotta tell you, before I answered them, I don't know if it's still there. I think they're gone, but before I answered them, I had a reaction, and I was like, before I was able to say, she's got a point on some of that, like I agree with some of it, but like, I just didn't agree with the part where I was just dreadfully sad about anything. And also, like, too, with the black people, like the whole kind of history of black people here prior to them coming, like, of their own accord, coming here on purpose because they meant to, is not great. And what happened in Africa related to American slavery or anything else, as far as, like, foreigners coming in, also not great. Not all bad, but just like this country, but also not great. So, I almost answered back kind of snappily, kind of like, what do you know, or how dare you, or what the fuck? Like, I just felt kind of like aggro. Like, I kind of wanted to box with this person, and then I was like, why? What's wrong with you? She's not wrong. I don't know. I must have felt something weird, and I came up with like 3 or 4 different answers before I finally decided to just say, well, I wasn't really feeling that emotional part of it. And that's when she came back all mad, and what she was saying about the Holocaust was essentially like, well, you don't care. I mean, she didn't say that, but that was the gist. She's like, all this horrible stuff happened to these people, and what do you think of that? And I'm all, what does it have to do with it? What are you talking about? So, I thought after the eclipse, I knew that some pretty significant things happened to us personally. And I say that because several things were happening before, during, and after that eclipse time. And this one happening when it did, like when there's so much awakening happening amongst us, a lot of us are suddenly seeing the light, by which I mean understanding that there's like another way to go. Like, it doesn't have to be all like Dems against Republicans and conservatives against liberals and blah blah, like all of that back and forth and arguing. And this woman was mad at me because I didn't respond to my own experience to her specifications, and that's just like I'm sorry. I'm still having a little trouble processing that. But what I'm noticing is that some people are kind of like her, where they're just sort of like unspecified to me, angry. And then there's other instances which are interesting, which are like over the Jimmy Kimmel thing. People are agreeing with Ted Cruz, and it's blowing their minds. Or like people have agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene lately, and it's blowing their minds. And all of a sudden, Kristi Noem was like agreeing with the Epstein survivors, and it blew her mind. And so there's like a jostling or something going on as we are trying to sort of settle ourselves and arrange our emotions and how we deal with each other with them, and the introduction of like increased sensitivity in all of us, and also dawning understanding of like what is going on with us that we thought was like supernatural fairy tales and stuff. And I can't wait until the majority of society can handle like stuff like the Galactic Federation of Light, that they can take it as serious as I do and actually like want to join its team, you know, be a part of it, and believe what it's saying when it says that we are not only connected but like related. And so it's very dense and textured. There's a lot to it, but it's like the introduction of that reality into our existing 3D reality, and then our minds trying to process the two things at once, and whatever changes are happening because of that, and whatever their awakened status is, consciousness level, effect of astrology, astronomy, like the public discourse. There's so much just like in our brains jostling our awareness around it. It's like, and then we sometimes don't react well. Like, we think it's a good idea to take a long gun out and go start aiming and firing it at people, and it's like, every time that happens, I feel like, why do you, I know you're upset about something, but why do you gotta drag everybody else into it? Can't you just say you need help? Like, I get that this is a cry, but it's just making everybody cry. I don't know why I mean, I know why I brought up that encounter is because it was unsettling. Like, I'm used to being attacked for no apparent reason, but it just seemed like she was already, like, hairs, right there, hair trigger, waiting to jump down somebody's throat. Go ahead, argue with me. I'll compliment you and then I'll argue with you, or, whatever happened. I don't know, it was just a strange thing, but something else I noticed too, and it's part, like, the eclipse definitely had, like, an emotional impact on me, but that's part of an ongoing thing. But it was big because I physically felt it. Like, it was happening and I was like, oh shoot, that's the thing. And so, it's not just happening to me, it's happening to everybody else. You think it's just going around shooting a beam on certain people and, like, everybody else is left behind? No. It's I think everybody it's distributed evenly, and then it's like, your decision, do I want to pick this up and pay, do I want to lift the lid and look in the box? Do I want to make myself aware of this? Or is it just like, I was going to say, is it just easier to stay in, like, 3D and keep doing what I was doing and not make any changes? But that's an unfair characterization, because it's more than a decision to not want to deal with something. There's reasons, and I couldn't possibly tell you what they are for every individual person, because we're all doing our own thing. Alright, so I have some cards from the Sacred Soul Messages, and the first one is, Happy Friendly Dolphins. Be with those who help your being. Like attracts like. Choose friends carefully. Watch out, because they can seem like happy dolphins and then all of a sudden turn into crazy sharks or something. Oh, we seem to be at, the theme seems to be at sea. Let the waters settle and the stars will be mirrored in you. Wow, take a break. Time away brings clarity. So let let your waters settle, and the stars will be mirrored in you. Okay, so obviously that's a metaphor, but that's pretty mind-blowing if you think about it. Like, you could become such as a star could reflect off of you, and presumably vice versa. In certain schools of thought, planets, stars, what have you, are beings, sentient beings. They may communicate differently than we do, but that's, and I haven't heard it from just one place. Like, it's actually pretty generally accepted in certain circles. So that would, the ability for one of us to get to a state where we're calm enough, where we've let the waters settle enough in us that we can have that energy exchange and reflect a star back to the star, and the star, we get its reflection, and then we have our wonder of that, just that alone, just the sight of it, or, you know, like, we might not be thinking that we're reflecting anything back and forth, but the starlight is coming down on us, and that does things to us and for us. I can't specify. I don't know exactly, although I do know how it feels to be in the starlight. It, like, kind of makes you want to, if the weather's temperate, it kind of makes you want to take off your clothes and run around. I don't know why, but I have never done it. I don't live, like, in a remote enough place to not get into some kind of trouble running around with no clothes on, all Nas X style. Like, you gotta go out in the desert or something. Anyway, it's just kind of mind-blowing, a concept, but if you can conceive of a planet as a person, there's no reason why you can't mirror that planetary person back at them and vice versa. There. I said it. Okay. Next card is Bouquet. Those look like roses. Reason is powerless in the face of love. Romance, communication. Listen to your heart. Whoa, sounds like somebody's got it going on. Oh my goodness, look at the next card. With little baby hearts even. So, this really worked out for you. Your heart is an ocean. Find yourself in its hidden depths. Life is a journey. Finding purpose, true love. So, this is actually less about romance to me than the intimacy of being part of an ocean. And it's like that saying about, well, there's several of them, so I'm just gonna generally mention that there are sayings that talk about individuals being part of an ocean, like as a drop. And you could think that you would be diluted by, like, the whole rest of the ocean, but by the same token, maybe the dilution works in reverse and you are added to, made more of by your proximity to all the other stuff that's in the ocean. Like, you can just flow about and sample here and sample that and try this on for size, and just, if it's for you, great, hang around. If not, move on. Like, go back into the flow, get in a current and go find something else in the huge vast selection of personalities and architecture and objects in an ocean. The trappings of people and their lives. Lamps to see in the dark. Be patient where you sit in the dark. The dawn is coming. This too shall pass. Your future is bright. So this is saying to me, at the time when you're feeling dark and maybe alone and sad, the sun always rises, and that makes everything better, unless you have a hangover. Unless you went to bed an hour before it came up and you have to go to work. But that's another video. That's another conversation. This, I think, is talking about those moments when you're fearful and here's the thing, like, you could be sitting there questioning everything and scaring yourself more and not doing yourself any favors, not helping yourself. Or you could take that time and those conditions and find the light in them, like find something in it that is useful. And with the understanding that it may not be immediately useful, but you know that things can change, times can change, you can change over time. And so something that came to you maybe at a dark time when maybe you weren't in your like best place mentally, you can appreciate better, both in the light and then later when it's had some time to sink in, to assimilate, and become useful, a useful part of your regular tool set. So you're shining a light to, I don't know, like remind you and keep you brave until the morning, and illumination comes. And here's the last card. Anything you lose comes around in another form. Opportunity, choices, transformation. So even a loss is something, you can get something out of it. Especially if you know that what you lost is going to come around in another form. You're always offered an opportunity. And you always have choices. And when you do both of those things, and I guess anyway, I was going to say, like, you could accept it and allow the information in and assimilate it that way, or you could let it scare you and get a whole other set of data from it. That's your choice. Okay, I don't know, I gotta go find some licorice root. This sucks. Sorry, nothing sucks. Everything is going my way, and I'm doing better than okay, and so are you. Thank you, and good night.